This Minecraft world is 10 times bigger than normal. Walking around it, you feel like an ant, or 5'4". And I'm going to try to speedrun this world in under 1 hour. Now, that may be a long time for an ordinary speedrun, but with this world, it's going to be a real challenge. Main issues are, firstly, I need 10 times as many Eyes of Ender, which means I need to kill 10 times as many blazes, mine 10 times the gold, and wait 10 times as long for piglin trades. And also, the distance is a way further. So, stacking up to the fort, or going to the lava pool, going to blind coordinates, it's all going to take 16 times as long. Wait, but 16 doesn't equal 10? Well, I'll talk about that later. But first, let's begin the run. To start, I need to get to the Nether, for which I'm going to need some iron. Because each block is made of all its textures, I'm not actually looking for a block of iron ore, but rather a block that has some form of iron as part of its texture. This makes some blocks in the run much easier to find, but others much harder. Iron's one of the harder ones, but we're able to get it if we go all the way into the ocean, where there's iron ore as part of a gravel block. So let's grab some iron. You might also be wondering why I'm mining a ton of coal while my iron's smelting, but this is actually extremely important and you'll see why in a minute. Next, I head to this specific village house, and while I'm going there, it's also worth noting that this world was built by a YouTuber named Nooba, so huge shout out to him, and if you want you can check out his video after this. But although he said he made the world 10 times bigger, he actually made it 16 times bigger. Each block is a 16 by 16 by 16 cube, which means one block is the equivalent of 4,096 blocks, which I think is kind of cool. Anyway, I go to this village house because it has a yellow bed, and what important block is also yellow? A gold block. Basically, this bed is made up with a bunch of gold blocks, and if you're also wondering why I made 2 iron picks, well, on average I'm going to need to trade about 200 gold blocks in order to get the 100 pearls that I need to complete the end portal. You see the coal comes in handy as I trade it with a fisherman for 6 emeralds. Surprisingly, this world is actually pretty hard to get food in. Animals don't spawn and there aren't any crops anywhere, so the only way to get lots of food that's not like rotten flesh is through trading, which is what I do, getting 36 bread. With food, 48 gold blocks and a ton of wood, I can now finally head towards my nether enter. On the way I grab 2 dandelions as between them they get me about another 50 gold blocks. I'm now done with the overworld and able to build my portal at this lava pool. Unfortunately, there's no actual gravel anywhere, even though we did get the gravel blocks, but they didn't have gravel in. So I do have to woodlight, but that's alright, and I enter the nether at 11:20. Now I've entered the nether, I need to start trading with some piglins. I don't want to do all my trading here, but I can't just go straight to the fort as it's 512 blocks tall. Therefore, it's best if I do a little bit of trading here because that'll give me enough blocks to stack up to the spawner. I found some pigs and managed to get them in boats to trade. The reason I put them in boats is that it stops them from despawning, which otherwise seems to happen quite quickly in this version. One good thing is that the nether spawn is next to a vein of nether gold. Nether gold ore is also a source of gold blocks, so I can overlap getting extra gold with my piglins trading. Just one thing I want to add, I fucking hate ghasts. These guys are actually just the bane of my existence. Like, I'm just peacefully doing my thing and I turn my head and boom, another fireball like skimming past my ear. These guys just actually piss me off so much and like constantly just getting hit, it's just on fire, it's so annoying. But anyway, I've mined all my gold now so I can grab my trade, which gets me just enough blocks as well as a good start to my pearl count. Now the fort might be pretty high up, but even the stacking up I can optimize as much as possible. What I do at the start is I alternate placing soul sand and gravel. Because soul sand is slightly shorter than other blocks and Minecraft's buggy, this saves 1 tick every other block. And over time that adds up to save me just a few seconds, which is nice. Now these blocks have run out, I'm craft some blackstone into slabs, so there's no chance that I run out of blocks. Because even with how many I got, it's still going to be quite tight. Eventually I make it to my spawner, and when I say spawner, what I mean is a group of 16 blaze spawners, which given I need 50 rods is going to come in handy. Plus I don't have to worry about it getting dangerous, I do have fire res from my pigs. So let's go kill some blazes. My blaze rates here are slightly below average, going 51 for 106, though when you're killing this many anyway it doesn't make too much of a difference. After a few minutes and 2 iron axes, I had all my rods, so now let's head to my area for trading. My main priority here is getting a lot of piglins. If I were to trade all 200 gold blocks for just one piglin, that's 1800 gold, each taking 6 seconds to trade, meaning to trade all the gold it will take 180 minutes or 3 whole hours. Now, I want to beat this in under 1 hour, so I can't exactly sit here for 3. There's also no bastion anywhere to get like a big source of piglins from, so I have to spend a lot of time getting like groups of piglins together. With 12 piglins, the trading would take maximum 15 minutes, so that was my target number of pigs. First, I saw some piglins up here, so I lured them into some boats where I can push them around. Unfortunately, all my other spawns here were zombie pigs, leaving little room for more piglins to spawn. Now, I could just get rid of the zombie pigs, but apparently, if you hit one, it gets pretty dangerous. However, I had a plan. I dug a 2-deep hole and towered right next to it, then punched a pigman. Outraged, the pigman screamed loud and far to get help from his fellow comrades. And so, the army of conscripts arrived. Even the children were turning up to fight. However, little did these poor pigs know, they were being wielded into a death trap. Eventually, the whole population of pigmen had arrived and fallen into this hole. A once happy and peaceful community was gone. The great massacre of some random place in the Nether that looks like everywhere else but is somewhere near my blind coordinates and there's lots of gold was done. With blood on my hands, I went searching for more piglins. Thankfully, it wasn't long before I found quite a few pigs, then almost immediately after I found more and more, so within just a couple of minutes, I had acquired 13 piglins. With the piglins trading, I needed a bunch more gold. That's why I picked this location as it's next to a lot of gold blocks. I'd massacred the local population, pillaged their land of its resources, and traded back those resources to the few survivors for their most prized possession, ender pearls. The American dream was being realized. I split my pearls across 7 slots in my inventory, but now it was just going to become a waiting game. In this time, I kept going back and forth between my 2 groups of piglins to pick up the pearls before they despawned. After a bit over 10 minutes of trading, I headed to my bottom pigs to get the final pearl trade. All it took was over 1900 gold, but I had gotten 100 ender pearls. And now it's time to head to the final battle. I built my portal and entered the stronghold. 2 times prior I had gotten this far, but both times the frustrating dragon mechanics had ended my run. But this time, I had a better plan. Time to fill in all 100 eyes. Also, the dumbest thing about this world download is every time you enter the end, you spawn directly staring at this enderman, and there's literally absolutely nothing you can do about it. Every time I forget about it, and it nearly ends my life, but whatever. The reason I'd failed this twice before was because there's no easy place to stand below the dragon where you can safely shoot it without it coming down and killing you. If you stay on the surface, you're a bit too low to hit shots, but if you stand up on the fountain, you're going to get hit off. 1 cycles also don't work, so how's I going to kill it? Well, if you can't go under the dragon, you've got to go over it. I stacked up above the flight path of the dragon and began my attack. At last, it was done.
Yes!
I'd achieved the dream of every man who stepped foot in this world. But yet, I felt empty. All I could think about was who had to suffer to make this happen. The blazes, the gas, The pigmen. Was it really worth it just to end a meaningless timer? Yes.